Hello and everyone, welcome to TBC News. Our top stories. President Samia urges Tanzanians to neglect people who want to divide them. United Nations urged to support countries with emerging economies.
Support the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly for the poorest unit nations.
Good evening, I am Faida Gaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has urged Tanzanians to neglect people who want to divide them as the culture of the country embraces peace and unity. President Samia made the remarks at the climax of the 3rd National Cultural Festival held in Ruvuma region, where she requested cultural and religious leaders to cooperate in improving ethics in the country. Here are more details.
Residents of Ruvuma region have turned out in large numbers at the CCM Stadium in Sogea to celebrate National Culture Festival. Addressing people at the festival, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has urged Tanzanians to maintain peace and avoid activities that may lead to violence.
Nilipata fursa kutembelea makumbusho ya Majimaji.
I had the opportunity to visit the Majimaji Museum, and I witnessed the origin of courage, determination, and resilience of Tanzanians. Let us reject all those who want to divide us for political reasons or ideological differences. Tanzanians are united. We are one nation.
She urges cultural, religious, and government leaders to work together to ensure that good ethics are observed in the country.
RAE kwa kila Mtanzania kubeba jukumu la kukagua maadili katika boma lake.
However, due to the influence of external cultures and technological advancements, we have started to witness a decline in morals among us and behaviors that do not align with Tanzanian values. I urge every Tanzanian to take responsibility for upholding morals in their homes, and I'm pleased to see traditional leaders here because I believe that by collaborating with them and our religious institutions, we will succeed in addressing this issue.
On his part, Minister of Culture, Arts and Sports, Dr. Damas Ndumbaro, has pledged to strengthen nation's culture.
We are making reforms, major changes, Honorable President. We have said culture, art and sports is now a source of employment, business and economical growth. We have made good changes and now we are going to create many jobs and boost the economy, which is why this sector is leading sector in growth, growing at a rate of 17.6%.
Earlier today, President Samia visited museum area where she was decorated with Ngoni tribe traditional attire.
The revolutionary government of Zanzibar says that it plans to construct a regional hospital at Mahonda area in North Unguja town that will be funded by the government of Oman. President of Zanzibar and chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, revealed that at State House in Zanzibar when he met in talks with the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Oman, Khalid Al-Muslahi.
We had decided that we will have regional hospitals. So Mahonda is one of the areas that is earmarked for a regional hospital. What we will do is after the construction of this center, we will see what is missing to make it a regional hospital, and the government of Zanzibar will come to make sure that it gets the status of a regional hospital. So we will be working with the contractor that you will appoint, and to make sure that we do it simultaneously, so that by the time they are done, we are also done with our part to make it a proper center. Apart from that, I've been speaking to His Excellency here many times regarding all the projects that Omani government has promised to undertake. The fact that you are here now shows us the commitment So we are hoping with this visit we'll get things done. Yes, so thank you once again for being here, and hopefully with this visit we will have most of those areas that were pending for a long time. Now the implementation could go forward.
He congratulated the government of Oman for its contribution in development projects that are implemented in Zanzibar, saying good diplomatic relations that exist between Zanzibar and Oman will continue to be strengthened. In other news, Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has urged United Nations to support countries with emerging economies so that they can improve their internal affairs. Here are more details.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa made the remarks in New York, United States, when presenting a message from the government of Tanzania at the opening of the two-day meeting of heads of state.
I urge the international community to support the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly for the poorest unit nations. The United Nations Secretary General's call for biannual summit involving heads of state and international financial institutions is crucial for mobilizing resources to meet those challenges.
Prime Minister Majaliwa says effects of climate change are seen all over the world, whereby in some parts they experience drought or heavy rains that lead to floods.
The escalating climate crisis is a pressing reality, particularly for nations like Tanzania, where its impact are felt daily. Tanzania is committed to global climate action and urge the international community to fulfill its commitments regarding climate finance and technology transfer.
He says security is an important aspect.
Peace and stability are fundamental for sustainable economic development. We face complex global challenges that threaten peace and security. Tanzania reaffirms its commitment to the United Nations Charter and call for strengthened multilateralism, where international law and institutions are respected and where smaller nations have a voice in shaping global governance. Reforming the United Nations Security Council remains essential to reflect today's realities.
Prime Minister Majaliwa is attending United Nations General Assembly in New York, and his delegation includes Minister of Foreign Affairs in East African Cooperation, Thabit Kombo, Minister of State in President's Office Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, Deputy Minister of Health in Zanzibar, Nasser Ahmed Mazrui, and other government officials. Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
Korea Radio Promotion Association RAE has shown interest of assisting in the ongoing construction of the Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation headquarters in Dodoma. The head of delegation from RAE, Jonam Lee, made the pledge after visiting the construction site at Vikonje in Dodoma, saying he will send a report to his government for evaluation.
The same project I have to report to the Korean government until next February, and then Korean government is going to examine, and if Korean government decide to support, the project will begin 2026. Hopefully, yes.
On the other hand, Director General of TBC, Dr. Ayub Rioba, says studio equipment assistance from RAE will be highly appreciated.
Wakitusaidia hapa watakuwa wametupiga tough kubwa sana.
If they help us here, they will have given us a very significant support. Building a structure is one thing until it is completed, and we expect it to be finished by April 2025 because the government has continued to provide funds on time. Once it is completed, it will truly be a very good thing to bring us that equipment and the machine, because for any broadcasting center, studios are essential.
Kama hauna studio na majengo tu kaweka meza na viti wala haisaidii.
The visit by RAE team at Vikonje project is a result of President Samia Suluhu Hassan's visit in South Korea from the 30th of May to the 6th of June this year. The 18th Communist Party delegation from Vietnam has visited the Integrated Center for Family Matters in Temeke, Dar es Salaam, with the aim of observing how the activities are carried out and learn the court activities in Tanzania. Speaking in Dar es Salaam after the visit, Chief Court Administrator Professor Elisante Olegabro informed the delegation in Tanzania that the judiciary is one of the 3 pillars of the state with the task of interpreting the law. On the other hand, the Secretary of the Communist Party, FATRAC, praises efforts made by the Court of Tanzania on the use of technology in its daily activities. The delegation from Vietnam is, in other news, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Community Development, Gender, Women and Special Groups, Amon Mpanju, says the government of Tanzania will continue to protect the rights of children and support the policy of peace for African nations. Mpanju made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the opening of training of trainers on integration of child protection in African Union and peace support operations. Peter Mganga has more.
More than 50 participants from the African continent are meeting together to discuss the integration of child protection in Africa and peace support operations. Here, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Community Development, Gender, Women and Special Groups, Amon Mpanju, explains how Tanzania's government ensure child protection policy and peacekeeping mission across Africa.
As the country, we invest much in the prevention of those kind of conflicts, kind of wars, and that's why, under the leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, she and her government promotes reconciliation, it promotes rebuilding, promotes resilience, promotes reform. These 4 areas aim to avoid the conflict within, aim to ensure that you have peaceful understanding, peaceful reconciliation, peaceful engagement between political parties and the other key players in the country.
On the other hand, the senior police officer of Africa Union, Kenneth Abotsi, says conflicts is one of the reasons for violating children's rights, while the partnerships and child protection advisor from Africa Union, Dr. Isabella Warioba, says the main objectives of the training is to ensure that they increase knowledge for AU practitioners on various issues, including child protection.
90% of casualties from our conflicts are civilians. Now, within that bracket of civilians, children are one critical, segment that suffers most. Conflicts have affected us in such a way that now you find that children associated with armed conflicts have increased. So rather than being children, they are now taking up arms to be part of the conflicts that are going on. Now, the African Union's policy on child protection says that it is an offense, it is illegal to have children, being child soldiers. They should remain children. And children have a right to live, first of all, to education, to access basic services.
The aim of this particular training is to make sure that child protection concerns are mainstreamed in peace support operations. The African Union has adopted a policy, and this policy calls for mainstreaming of child protection in the processes of designing, as well as planning, and also the mandate of all African Union peace support operations. So we are here this week to make sure that we are training trainers from regional economic communities, as well as regional mechanisms on conflict prevention, conflict management, as well as conflict resolution, to make sure that when they're training troops that are about to be deployed by the African Union.
The training will last for 5 days, while different agendas will be discussed among more than 50 participants across African countries. Peter Mganga, TBC News, Dar es Salaam.
Statistics show that the number of women in the aviation sector is still low, stating that the female pilots make up only 23%. This was stated by the founder of the Forum for Women in the Aviation Sector, Maria Memba, when she was announcing the upcoming meeting since the establishment of the forum in 2023. She further encouraged more women to join this sector so that when Tanzania enters the common aviation market in Africa, there can be a balance.
Being able to work in the aviation sector or becoming a pilot or an engineer, you need to take a science subject. So the main purpose of this is to encourage our girl child to not afraid of science subjects, to go for it and then later on join the aviation sector. The purpose of this meeting today is to call for women in aviation for our first meeting from the date of the launching, the meeting which has been planned to be held in 31st October. We have a lot in stock to discuss on how we are going to reach our objective.
The first meeting of the forum is expected to take place on the 31st of October 2024 of age. Journalists have been urged to learn and embrace the power of artificial intelligence as a helpful tool in performing their duties. The executive director of Tanzania Media Foundation, TMF, Dastan Kamanzi, made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the opening of the Artificial Intelligence and Future of Journalism program.
We find like journalism in Tanzania needs such kind of training so that journalists can work well and can cope with the new technologies, especially AI. And we have seen some fear among journalists and news media organizations when it comes to use of AI technologies. And we think like Tanzania Media Foundation, which is a foundation for the media, must venture into this building capacity. So by training journalists in this technology, we know that it is going to improve the quality of journalism, the quality of content, but again, it will remove that fear by journalists whereby they are thinking like the AI is coming to take their position, their roles. So it is a program which is ongoing. It will be done once per month.
And so one of the most interesting aspects in the discussion today, Sahara Ventures had a study that shows the state of application of artificial intelligence and journalism, where they had 100 participants, and in which it has really opened up a way for further discussion. And I'm really glad that some of the things which had been raised are things that we've been discussing about.
The program involved the open discussion between journalists and panelists, exchanging ideas on how AI technology has positive impact when effectively used.
Also, as a NUCTA Africa, we also do training to journalists in other media houses in data journalism, fact-checking, and the multimedia storytelling. So by experiencing and embracing the new era of artificial intelligence, it opened for us another room to have another training.
We shared the opinion and perception in terms of how artificial intelligence will impact the industry. The world is changing very fast, and AI right now is being used for so many things, including curation of content, publication of content, fact-checking, trying to manage misinformation and disinformation. So today we were reflecting, as far as Tanzania is concerned, to what extent our journalists are prepared for these changes. Do they have the relevant skills for them to survive? Are we going to see Tanzania whereby journalists possess augmented intelligence, meaning that they have the ability to work hand in hand in machines to produce content, to create content, instead of technology becoming a burden, become opportunity for these journalists? So that's
The Director of Creativity Development from Prime Minister's Office, Work, Employment and People with Disabilities, Johanna Madadi, urges various development stakeholders in the country to cooperate with the government in taking care of the environment as part of creating a sustainable society. Madadi made the remarks during the launch of 3D animation named Bahari Mania, which centers upon keeping the environment clean among members of the community. Peter Mganga has more.
We need to cure fish first, or we'll continue fishing poison.
According to our world data, around 0.5% of plastic waste ends up in the ocean. Most of it stays close to the shoreline. 1 to 2 million tons of plastic enter our ocean annually, affecting wildlife and ecosystems. Here, the Director of Creativity Development from the Prime Minister's Office, Labor, Employment and People with Disabilities urges various stakeholders to use creativity as part of eradicating waste in the society. I congratulate the Jakaya Kikwete Foundation for creating 3D animation of Bahari Mania, which aims to provide education on keeping the environment clean through recycling. I urge various stakeholders to cooperate with the government in eradicating plastic waste in the country for the wider interest of the nation. On the other hand, Dr. Catherine Sanga, who is the program manager of Jakaya Kikwete Foundation, explains how our institutions contribute to the eradication of plastic waste in the country.
As the foundation, we are very excited to have this opportunity to launch the short film on Bahari Mania. As the main purpose of this film is to show the need for the community in Tanzania and beyond to address the issue of plastic waste, which currently we are not doing well. So we are excited that we are able to have a film which can motivate, especially the young generation, to be able to start to take actions towards plastic waste.
Furthermore, the director and idealist of Bahari Mania 3D animation, Alphonse Haule, explains the way he succeeded in making this film.
The idea actually started some time back, because if you look at it now at the time, there is, globally, climate change is a big issue. So through that, we are like, you know what, we cannot sit behind. We need to step up and be able to, contribute into this journey to make sure that we also have our own parts into the issue of climate change. And by using this 3D with the storytelling part, it has been, I could say, great experience. And we're still looking forward to make sure that this animation gets to reach the community out there and bring a positive change.
More than 100 people attending the launch of short film in Dar es Salaam. Peter Mganga, TBC News.
And now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. Now let's have a look at the international news as compiled and read to you by Lua Mohammed.
Kenyan President William Ruto has praised the Kenyan police force, saying its presence has improved the Caribbean country's security significantly. Ruto said he hoped to listen to members of the Kenyan forces who were deployed in Haiti and hear about their progress before he headed to New York for UN General Assembly. Earlier this month, about 400 Kenyan police were deployed in Haiti, and later about 24 police and soldiers from Jamaica arrived in the country. However, the United States and other countries said that the forces aren't enough and lack resources to take on gangs, which control about 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince. Sri Lanka's new president, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, has been sworn into office, promising clean politics as the country recovers from its worst economic crisis. Dissanayake won the election on Saturday by 42% of the vote. He has promised to root out corruption and improve people's lives. Saturday's election was the first since 2022, when discontent over the economy fueled mass protests and chased the former president Gotabaya Rajapaksa from power. The 55-year-old told Sri Lankans that democracy doesn't end with voting in a leader. During the campaign, Dissanayake promised voters good governance, and he has promised to develop Sri Lanka's manufacturing, agriculture and IT sectors. And hundreds of travelers have been stranded in South Africa after unusual snowstorm that hit KwaZulu-Natal province. The blizzard left the highways impassable and left many cars covered with snow. Officials said 2 people died after being trapped in the snow up to 12 hours. The authorities are urging people to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary travel.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports, the Tanzania Basketball Federation, TBF, in collaboration with iCare, is committed to promoting basketball, especially at the children's level, to create a conducive environment for them to achieve their dreams. TBF Secretary Mwenze Kapinda stated that the growth of sports in the country has given them strength and motivation, while iCare Director Kristen Bryant believes this is the beginning of uplifting basketball to continue strengthening the sport.
Best in the youth, be able to make sure that they're well-rounded, and a part of being well-rounded is making sure that the child is taken care of as a whole. So not only are we partnering with TBF and we'll be providing sponsorship, equipment, uniforms, shoes, but also to develop them in their ICT skills and mental health skills, preventative substance abuse. So we definitely want to support the students as a whole, and really happy to be here to support the students, U14, the younger students.
The International Cricket Tournament Coordinator Atif Salim says Tanzania getting the opportunity to host the qualifying tournament for the 2026 World Cup in the African region has motivated the players and the technical bench to perform better this season. Atif added that Tanzania's goal and intention are to continue building a competitive team so that when the time comes, they will be ready to showcase a higher level of competition compared to previous seasons.
We have every reason to perform well in order to create an easy path for ourselves in the World Cup qualifiers.
These tournaments involve 6 nations, with Tanzania being the host this season. That's it for sports news. Now, before we wind up the news bulletin, let's have a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello, dear viewers. Good evening. This is 24 hours weather forecast starting at 9 p.m. tonight. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, my name is Desderi Moses. Moderate wind is expected to flow at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour over Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa, and over the northern part of the Indian Ocean. While for the southern part of Indian Ocean, wind is expected to flow at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. And Tanzania Meteorological Authority has issued an advisory of periods of strong winds reaching 40 kilometers per hour over some areas along the southern coast regions, that is Lindi and Mtwara regions. People living in those areas are advised to take all necessary precautions. And tonight, dry condition is expected over the entire country, while for tomorrow, rain showers is expected over the northern coast, while the southern coast together with southern region, light rain showers is expected over those areas. For Kagera region is expected to feature partly cloudy condition and thunderstorm, and the rest part of the country is expected to be mainly dry. And now let's have a look at the 4 days weather forecast for some regions in our country. Light rain is expected over Dar es Salaam with some sun periods over the next 4 days, while for the Dodoma region, sun period is expected over the next 4 days, as well as for Mbeya region. For the Mwanza region, sun period is also expected to persist over the next 4 days, and this weather is also expected to be featured over Kilimanjaro region in the next 4 coming days, as well as over Morogoro region. This weather is also expected to be featured over Arusha region for the next 4 days that are coming. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, until next time, good night.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faitha Ngaga. Good night.
Unaangalia TBC1, ukweli na uhakika. Tangazo. Shirika la utangazaji Tanzania TBC kupitia redio ndio chombo pekee kilichopata haki kutangaza matangazo ya mechi ya ligi kuu Tanzania. TBC inawakaribisha vituo vya redio kuwasiliana nasi kupitia email info@tbc.go.tz au simu namba 0735778891 au 0659